Howdy music lovers, Tom from Blakgraz here. I can't get too loud because the road manager is actually taking a nap on my seat that I normally film on. This is the passenger seat in Rufus, and she has decided that this is where she's going to nap today, and so she's getting her beauty rest. And I don't dare move her or interrupt her because she gets really grumpy otherwise, and then we have to pay the price later.
She's not a winter cat.
She's not a winter cat. She is definitely a warm weather cat. So today I wanted to actually go through all of the different things that Vaughn did to all these different guitars for me. If you've been watching the videos, you know that I had worked on several of the guitars, and I had to borrow a couple of Vaughn's personal guitars from Custom Build, by the way. That's thintheherdguitars.com. He actually has sponsored Blakgraz when we first went on the road, and basically gave me 4 guitars, literally gave me 4 guitars, and just said, please do some videos and show yourself playing them on stage. And I've never had that kind of, I mean, I've had sponsorships before, like, you know, with Jim Dunlop, I get wholesale artist pricing, which is really, really good deal, especially for as many years as they've been with me. And I haven't had as much attention as I'm getting now, so it's kind of nice that I'm able to pay them back also with some of the attention that all of y'all are giving to us. But also, I've been sponsored by Nady, I've been sponsored by Honer, Harmonica, I've been sponsored by Line 6 for a long while there. And actually, they actually fixed my Vetta when I got it shipped from the East Coast to the West Coast one time, and the motherboard got cracked. They had to go in with a microscope because they didn't make those motherboards anymore, and they had to solder the joints by hand with a microscope, which is just mind-blowing to me. So great companies, and I've had really huge success with a lot of them, but Custom Build actually was the first time that somebody said, I completely believe in what you're doing. I think that you're going to be huge and you're going to be amazing, and I could really use the exposure for my company. Please take this huge amount of value in exchange for, you know, showing people that you play my guitars. You know, I've never had anybody be that invested right out of the gate before, and so to, you know, for Vaughn it was a risk, and for me it was an honor. It was very flattering. It was an honor and a privilege, and I hope that even to this day I'm doing right by him and his amazing work, his amazing guitars. I'll never forget the first time I met him. We were at JD Southside in South San Antonio. It's a music store down there that I sing about, actually, and Dave Pendergraph is the fellow who sings on the song I've Got a Song for You. We recorded that right in his store, but he kept handing me his guitars to try, right? Dave was the one that actually introduced me to Custom Build, and Vaughn happened to be there, and so I got to meet him at one of his monthly get-togethers, and he kept handing me his guitars, and they just, every single one of them had this amazing sound, and each one played brilliantly. It was amazing to me because I mean, I love going in a music store and stopping and just trying some of the more expensive guitars, like the really fancy looking ones or the expensive ones, and almost always I was disappointed with the tone or with the way they played or just the way they would feel. They look really nice, but you pick them up and they just don't feel right. They don't fit you. Now that's another thing, you know, a guitar is very subjective. It's different for every guitar player what they're going to enjoy or what they're comfortable with. And that's why it was so amazing to me that he kept handing me one guitar after another, and every single one was as good as the one before and even better sometimes. So that caught my attention. and it's hard to do that. I mean, I've even played guitars from Norm's Rare Guitars in LA, where they were the $50,000 guitars, and multiple, tens of thousands of dollars worth guitar. I pick it up and it just didn't sound good, it didn't play well, but it was old, and so it was, famous, and it's been around for a long time, and it's all been fixed up, and so people want to pay tons of money for this old beat up guitar that doesn't sound so good or play well. Whatever. Anyway, so let's get to it. This one, let's go through and we'll just surprise ourselves with what comes out of the case.
Well, we plan on putting something on the case at some point to make it easier to identify them. I
think I'm just going to spray paint something on. I'm just going to spray the name on, I think. But these cases, actually, these two cases here are going to get replaced by these newer cases. We got these from JD Southside.
We do have that fabric paint, so we could use the stencils that we have and just make a letter for each of the girls. But
yeah,
it's an idea.
Can do that. So all of the guitars are in soft shells now. All of my hard shells are in storage so that I can fit all of them in the closet. And we have to outfit the closet to be able to separate them. They're all in there right now. They're standing, leaning, and they've got some padding on the front and sides to make sure that they don't bang around when Rufus rolls down the road. But we're going to put in wood with dowel rods to make sure they stay separated and that there's no pressure on the necks and something's holding the weight up, kind of like this. It'll just be kind of holding it like that, with the butt just touching so that it doesn't rock back and forth. It'll just sit there with most of the weight up here on the rod. But we'll have a video about that soon enough too. And the reason for that is that then I don't have hard shell cases because they just take up so much room in the camper next to my bed. I don't have to crawl into bed from the foot of the bed. I can actually walk around to the side and get in. Although Rosa is now on the side too, so I have to be careful with her, only because there's so many guitars with my bass too. This doesn't include my Fender Jazz that's in the closet as well, and that's what I use to record with, so I need it with me.
And you can't have them down below. We did have it that way at first, but with the extreme temperatures, because we try to be in warm weather more consistently, but even hot weather can cause an issue. Or like right now, where staying at friends, it's been really cold.
It's been freezing. In fact, it started raining when we got here and didn't stop, and then the rain turned into freezing rain, then it turned into sleet, and then it turned into just this white solid balls of ice, so that when we got out the next day, it looked like you'd be walking on snow, but instead it was a skating rink. Literally, you could barely walk. It was so slippery. And now we're actually, I don't know, 3 days into it or 4 days into it, and the roads still aren't clear because in this part of Texas, in Cleburne, they don't salt or treat the roads at all. So it's really just up to the sun and people driving, squishing the ice in the snow, breaking up the ice and turning it into slush and stuff. So anyway, here we go. Let's do this first one here, and I'll talk to you about what Vaughn did. So this is Betty.
The one he wanted to keep, aka the best guitar he said he ever made.
The best sounding guitar he's ever built. Yes. Betty has the honor of being Vaughn. What he said when he was done with working on her was that he played her, he tested all of them. And he said, this has to be the best sounding guitar he's ever built. And I said, you can't have her. She's my D sharp, and she's very important to me. I play her on several songs that are very, very important in my show, including Punch and Little Billy One Shoe and Good Vibes. I also use her on Strong Love. I have grown very attached to this guitar. And it's funny too, because before he made the changes that he made, I already loved her. There's something happens in here, in the pick guard and in the body. There's this, something is being created tone-wise inside of here that I've never heard in another guitar before. And that might be what he was picking up on. So basically, on this particular guitar, one of the things he did is he switched out this three-way switch for the pickups. It's obviously the bridge, both together, and then the neck pickup. So this does not have a coil tap, that is. And so they're P90s, I think. And then he also put in this kill switch. Now, the reason he switched this out was because sometimes when I hit for here, for leads, it would lose volume. Like I would go on to Last Night. Last Night is another one that's real important, that's in D sharp. I'd go for the lead steel guitar sound in Last Night, and it would drop volume by about 70%. It was really strange. So it was almost like something was loose in there and it wasn't connecting properly. So he put on a new switch. He also put in a kill switch for me, which comes from my idea on Tiff, the Fender Strat that I have, that you'll see here in a minute also. So now I have a kill switch on Betty, which is super cool because I need Tiff to be able to pull off the effects that I do in Me Gusta, but I also want to start using that effect in other songs for other, show impact, But I always was nervous if something went wrong with Tiff, I wouldn't be able to do Me Gusta. In fact, when I was using Vaughn's guitars, I'd have to skip over Me Gusta because I didn't have the kill switch, and that when I use that kill switch in Me Gusta, it's a climactic part of the song. It's like, you bring people up to this part and you need that effect to just finish the job, right? But then it's not there. It just doesn't work. It's not the same. So anyway, then the other thing that he did was he put a new neck on. So this whole neck here and new tuners. I wanted the notched post tuners because when I change strings, it's faster to clip it, stick it in, and wind it around and then drill it down. I can change strings faster and easier. I don't like the locking nuts. They take too long. You have to loosen them up and then you have to yank them out and all that stuff. I just don't like them. They take too long. These are way faster, and this was also inspired by Tiff, the Fender Strat that I had, these old style vintage notched tuning pegs. Plus the tuners are modern, so they got a smoother turn on them, which is really nice.
And when you have 6 guitars, I can't talk, 6 guitars to change strings on, that takes time.
When you got a day to finally change some strings. It takes about 3 hours with the 6 guitars, to get everything done. And that's, that includes me obviously treating the necks and then also polishing the guitar. So there's some extra time on that. But I don't need anything that gets in the way and slows me down as far as getting the strings back off or on again. So this neck is actually perfect for me too, because it's very similar. She's moved over, so I'm gonna switch over a little bit. It's very similar to my Strat's feel. The feel and the diameter, the curve here, the thickness of it, and the dark wood. That's I didn't realize how much I really prefer the dark wood until Sandy got this same kind of neck on her. And so it's also been kilned longer, so the wood was dried longer to make it harder and more straight. And so the challenge I was having was at the higher frets on Stella and Sandy. They were buzzing out for some reason from being beat up on the road and going in and out of camper and in and out of venues and cold and hot and all the different weather and different humidity levels, and so this new neck apparently will help remedy that. But also, these frets are not regular frets. These are stainless steel frets. And the reason that's important is because I squeeze really hard when I play on stage. I have a tendency not just to bend, as Vaughn says, I'm a bender, but also I have a tendency to really grab onto it, which is why I needed a stronger neck, and I need thicker strings. I use the 10 to 46. Now it's not super thick. I'm still able to get a lot of the big bends and everything that I need, and a lot of the finesse that I need, but it's got a thicker tone. But it also is easier for me to not bend stuff out of pitch, which I find when I use thinner strings actually happens quite a bit. I get too excited, and then I bang on the strings too hard, and they don't snap back the way I'm used to. So these stainless steel frets will last a lot longer. The question is, what kind of shape will they be in a year from now? That's what we're all waiting to see. But stainless steel put Vaughn to the test, apparently. He was filing stuff down because these edges, they got to meet that cotton ball test that they do for custom build. You should be able to run a cotton ball along here and not have it get any fibers taken off. That's how smooth they should be for him. Well, he's never filed so hard and so long ever before.
Got a good arm and forearm workout.
Yeah, he did. But so that's really exciting. So you're going to see that theme kind of repeated with the tuning machines and the stainless steel frets and the neck. So that's the changes that he made on Betty. And it's just incredible that he took the time and the resources and the investment to do it. I mean, it's really, really amazing that he was willing to do this for me. And it's an honor to have him work on them. So these are, Vaughn Shannon's creations, and I am extremely proud to be able to play them. And I'm going to take them all over the country and shout from the rooftops about how amazing custom build guitars are. So that's the first one.
I would add 2 for you as you get to the next one. There's a reason why you have so many guitars. There's several of them.
Oh, yeah.
The tunings for between the changes in the different songs is just one of them.
It's so at first my motivation for multiple guitars was different tunings. I have a lot of songs in standard 440 tuned to E, and then I also have Betty, who is a D sharp. It's 440, but it's a D sharp guitar. Everything's dropped a half step. And then there's several songs that I do that are drop D songs, and there's a couple songs like Why Not Me that's on acoustic that it has its own weird tuning. So that's what started it. But then what happened when I started playing on Vaughn's guitars, they each sounded different. They each had their own personality, and that inspired songs to be written actually on the road. So a lot of the newer songs that I'm playing in the last year and a half have been written on his guitars, on custom build guitars. Well, you can't walk on stage and get that same sound if you're not playing the guitar. So I'm basically painting myself into a corner when it comes to being efficient on setting up,
But you're also not just using on acoustic, and acoustic would lose a lot of the finesse or the tones and the sounds and the energy that you want to depict, because if you were playing only acoustic, people wouldn't hear the songs as what they are final.
Oh, you're talking about why I do electric and backing tracks anyway. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that was a big part of the decision when we went on the road. When I first started playing out, actually, you had said you got to use backing tracks, and I didn't want to do that because I considered myself, a real musician, a purist, and I got to have a band, and I got to have that interaction with band members. But I also have been in enough bands that I know that Spinal Tap is not a joke. That's actually a documentary of what it's like being in a band often.
Yep.
It's very frustrating, or can be very frustrating. It can be also very restrictive in terms of creativity, or even worse, in terms of puts the brakes on in terms of growing a brand. If I had a band right now, I would not be able to be traveling the country like I am. It's amazing that my wife of 23 years is willing to go on the road with me. There's no way some drummer or bass player or another guitar player or keyboard player or whatever would be willing to go on the road and travel as much as we are for as little as we're getting paid, and to play on stage non-stop.
To build the brand.
And to play as many different styles as I need to play for all the different places that I play, or that I just like these styles. So I have to build the project to a big enough point where I can finally pay people that it's worth their while to travel the way I want to travel, and to play the places that I want to play, and to play the styles that I want to play. It's a catch-22, so the only way out of it was to start using tracks. Now, the other reason for using tracks is because I have never ever been able to get my songs to sound the way that I hear them in my head until I started using tracks. When I started using tracks at live shows, then I felt like the song itself was actually finally being represented properly. Now, when I could pull that off with a live band, that's going to be wonderful. That's going to be another dream come true. But for now, I am very happy that my songs are being heard by people, and that the way I wanted them to hear them is coming across so well. I'm really blessed that way, and that was actually your idea.
Best wife ever.
best wife ever. All right, let's talk about this guitar. Which one is this now? Sandy. Hi, Sandy. So this is Sandy. She's a custom build Wolf model, and she couldn't get the cutoff switch because she's a solid body. So you'll notice that that's there. I know he checked the wiring inside of Sandy as well to make sure everything was fine. And she basically got a new neck. She was one of the ones that was having trouble up in these frets. Hear how the notes ring now? Even without an amp, you can just hear them. They just ring much longer. There's no buzzing, nothing is dying off. It's really nice. So he put a new neck on this one too. These are stainless steel frets also. And of course you see that these are the notched tuning pegs as well. Now these aren't black like on Betty, but that was kind of the aesthetic I think he was going for. This is more of a natural tone, and so he went with the silver, or the kind of dark, well, it's not brownish, it's kind of a bronze almost.
I think they're similar to what they were on beforehand.
No, they were different.
No, but color-wise.
Well, it just is to match the steel down here, I'm sure. But anyway, that's the nice thing about Vaughn. He is very aware of aesthetics, as like any good luthier would be. So that's the changes on her. Otherwise, she's pretty much the same. And I got to be honest, I really missed Sandy. I was opening shows with her, and I really loved the tone of these pickups. I love the tone of all of them, but I was using her specifically to start with Felt So Good, which is not the opening song anymore. Now it's actually Seeking Glory. But I became extremely fond of the sound of this guitar as well as Betty. So when I couldn't use her because of those notes dying out, it was kind of frustrating. But now she obviously works great, and with this same type of neck, you notice there's no black line on the back here for this one. But this same type of neck, it's going to be, the stainless steel frets will last longer. The neck is straighter and more durable. But also a nice thing that's a change on Sandy. On the old neck, it had that flame on here that I mentioned in another video. So the dots were kind of hard to see in dim lighting. Now you've got this really bright white dot here for where my hands are supposed to go on stage. And things happen so fast on stage, trust me, you need this. You need those dots. All right, reminds me of that band, the bass player from Level 42, and he has the bass that has LED lights that glow in his neck. He's probably put them there on purpose, because sometimes lighting crews don't always get it right, and it'll be dark on stage and you're looking for where in the hell's my patches, and I can't see any. Turn the damn lights on. They're waiting for you to start before they turn the lights on. Well, you can't start until your hands are in the right spot and you got the right patch. Yeah, that's a whole nother story. All right, so here's the next guitar. Guitar. Oh, this is Chosette. Now, Vaughn didn't work on Chosette.
You did, actually.
But he gave me parts for her, because when I picked up the other guitars, I mentioned that she was having a little bit of a challenge. There was a buzz that was happening in the bridge down here. And it turned out it was in the bridge. There was a wire that holds these screws that move this bridge piece back and forth. That little piece of wire is like a spring wire across the top of them to hold them down and keep them quiet. Well, it wasn't keeping them quiet, it was buzzing. So that was actually coming through in the notes that I was playing. So we put on a new bridge, and I put on new tuners, because when I was trying to tune this guitar, she was tough. Even when I tried to loosen the screw that's on the end here, it's supposed to make it a little bit easier and smoother, there was something wrong with them. So he just like, here, take these with you. Now they are locking, but that's okay. They turn so much smoother now, I just don't even care. They're not the notched, but it was kind of a last second decision when we were picking up the guitars. So thank you, Vaughn. They worked out great. And this is no longer buzzing. So Chosette she was already amazing. As you can see, she's really a centerpiece for the show too. She has a real defined look. And so I've been using her a lot in the show. In fact, that's going to be the tricky part, is deciding who gets played on what songs again, because I'm so used to not having Sandy and not having Stella. So that's Chosette. So Vaughn gave me the parts, I put them on, and that's what's different on her. You know, I gotta say this too. This is the first time in my life I've ever owned this many guitars, especially working guitars. The most I ever had before was 2 Strats, which is Tiff, and I had another blue one that I had to sell a long time ago because the neck just got damaged. I had somebody change the frets on it, and they damaged the neck and tried to pawn it off on me that it was that way, and I almost flipped out. They ruined a perfectly good Strat. Anyway, so I had to sell it, and I let them know when I sold it, you gotta watch out for this, and they were okay with that. So having this array of guitars now is a very new experience for me. I am not used to this kind of abundance. So I can't thank Vaughn Shannon enough. I can never thank him enough. This is incredible to be able to enjoy this way. So this is Tiff. Tiff is my 1995 62 Strat reissue. Now,
but now she's a custom build.
She was a Fender guitar, and this is that cutoff switch I was telling y'all about that inspired the one on Betty, and if this is Stella, Stella's got one now too. I put that on there for special effects long time ago. And now this is an integral part of Me Gusta. So she's got that Strat sound, the old Strat sound, but the frets on the original neck were worn down again. And I've already changed them out 4 times. So I thought, you know what? This time I'm going to ask Vaughn to put a new neck on Tiff. And I'm going to try it with just a new neck instead of changing the frets again and risking damaging the original neck. Now I still have the original neck. It's in storage. But now Tiff has the same kind of neck that Stella and Sandy and Betty have, right?
And Stella too. Stella
has one also. So it's that's harder wood, that's nice and straight, and it's got stainless. She's got stainless steel frets, but we still have the notched tuners. He put on new notched tuners because the old ones are still on the old neck. So he put on new tuners for me, and so now she's got this nice custom build sticker right here. So she is now officially a custom build hybrid, touched by the magic of Vaughn Shannon. So that's exciting, and he checked all of the wiring for me as well too.
Said he was really nervous working on her.
Well, he's always said he doesn't like working on other people's guitars that he didn't build, so that's not unusual. Yeah, I can't wait to play this guitar and hear how it sounds now. Anyway, I'll find out tomorrow. So this is Tiff, and I was a little nervous about changing out the original neck because of how good that's what I'm used to. That's the one that's my default. That's the one I really prefer. But these new necks feel as good, if not better, probably even a little bit better. They just feel really solid, and they are straight as arrows, and it is just wonderful to sit and practice on them and play and get used to.
And there's a chance that Tiff might get retired from the road within a year or so. Yeah,
there is that, and here's why. Because I'm going to have Vaughn build this guitar as a full custom build model for me. But I want a special gold fleck paint job and gold fittings and such, and some other modifications. But so there you go. That's what Tiff got. The tuners. She got stainless steel frets and a brand new neck. Oh, and he had to change out my graphite saddles here on the bridge because he said they were stripped, and I had no idea that they were stripped, and so he put on new stainless steel ones for me, and that's good.
Which makes sense with your posts being stripped then too for the guitar straps.
This is different. So I went.
Yeah, but they're old, so I mean.
So I went to I've never put washers on Tiff as a guitar before. I always had to take the strap on and off, or just make sure it didn't pop off. On Betty and Sandy and on Stella, I had washers on to hold the straps on because they were in bags. Tiff went into a case, and so I didn't want to put the strap on and then lay it on the neck and have the case pushed down on the frets. Well, now she's in a bag, I can put the washer on. Well, I went to put this one in, I took it out and put it back in and realized that when I had done it before, I had used wood glue, and that stuck to the threads, so it tore out the wood, and I had to put a longer screw in to get this one in. And I need a couple more washers because I still have to do this end, but I don't want to take this out until I have new posts and the washers to be able to do it. So I got to get new posts and a long enough screw to reach in far enough to grab, because I've tightened these posts down before. And I need the washers to make sure that the strap doesn't come off. So that's another thing that I'm going to be working on. But that's Tiff and all the stuff that's going on with her. Yeah.
Anna's trying to claim her seat back.
Well, she can have it. We're almost done anyway, so that's okay.
She didn't want to sit on Mommy.
She's the road manager. She can do whatever she wants. And the princesses too. Yeah. All right, so the last one, and not least, most of all, is Stella. Stella is the custom build Model T model, and I've actually been practicing on her lately. You can see that semi-hollow, but she does great with distorted tones as well. Like I said, each one of these guitars has a very different sound, and that's the thing I'm really enjoying, is experimenting and discovering all the different sounds that each of those guitars can make. But she got a new kill switch also. I think I'm gonna have to turn these so it's more like the one on Tiff, because right now I'd have to lift it up to be able to get it to go the way I want. Although that could be a very cool effect, is to pick it up and do it by hand like that. That would be kind of fun. Then she also got the new notched tuners that I've talked about. She got another new neck, the same kind of neck. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but on those, it was more like a Strat neck. This is more like a Telecaster head. The heads on the others were more like Stratocaster. This is more like a Telecaster head. It's still custom build, and it's got the stainless steel frets. And you know, he checked the wiring on all of them, because he also put in the switch. And she, of course, was having trouble at those higher frets, but now she's fine and ready for the road. And I've been practicing on her and Sandy and Betty and Chosette and Tiff, switching between them as often as I can. And that's all the guitars, though. I mean, imagine how much it would have cost me to take all these guitars and have them at a luthier for however long he had them, and say, can you please do all this and buy these parts and fix this and change that and just, I mean, it's crazy how much Vaughn has just invested in Blakgraz and his belief in Blakgraz and the support of Blakgraz, not just to give us the guitars, but then after have been on the road for a year and a half and beating the crap out of the guitars, but to be willing then to buy new parts and get them ready for this year, for us to go back out. Now, it's a good thing too, because we've already got half the year booked. I've got 50 shows or so already lined up for this year, and I'm aiming for 100 or more. So I need the stuff ready to go, because once we get out of Texas, it's just going to be nonstop, go, 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 place to place, which is exactly what we want, and that's how you build a brand. But I won't have a whole lot of time to slow down and get something repaired, right? That's what I ran into, is every time something was a challenge, I would have to take care of it or find somebody who could do it that day, right? Good luck with that, especially in 22 or 23 different states, traveling all over the place. So there you go, everybody. That's the work that Vaughn did from Custom Build Guitars, FinnTheHerdGuitars.com. Make sure you check him out. Please give him some love. Please tell him thank you from us, Blakgraz. It's an honor and a privilege to play these guitars and the way they feel and the way they sound in every show. You know, it's amazing too. Almost every single show, somebody comes up afterwards and they're like, I just want to look at your guitar. Sometimes it's before the show. They see the guitars out on the stands and they're like, I just got to look at what you got. This is amazing. You know, it's like walking into a really cool music store
Well, it's another way for people to know you're not faking it on stage. Yes, you have backing tracks, but you are actually playing live, because who else would bring 5 or 6 guitars with them on the road?
That's a real thing. You know, I have to explain at every show that I'm not just playing and singing with these tracks. That's actually me doing the drums and the bass and the rhythm guitars and the backing vocals and the keyboard parts, and I mix everything down. I do all the production. You know, we are literally a two-man team for an entire band and label and brand and company. I mean, it's just us right now. So that's how you get started. That's just how you do it. The second year of a 5-year plan, and we're going strong. So thanks everybody for tuning in. If you like what you saw, please give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you check out the links down below. We've got CDs for sale online. We've got merchandise for sale online. And we've also got handmade t-shirts for sale at shows, as well as emotional support beverage koozies with Blakgraz on them at every show. You know, and just keep this in mind. Every time you watch, or every time you listen, or every time you comment, or especially when you purchase a merchandise or a CD or whatever, that literally gets us another mile down the road. That is what's keeping us going. Your support and you spreading the word about Blakgraz and telling people that you heard of it, what we're doing, and you're having fun following what we're doing, or you like the music or whatever. But especially when you come out to a show, that's the moment that I live for. I look forward to shaking every one of your hands someday. So for now, thanks so much, and hopefully we'll see you again at a show real soon.
Road manager's going back to sleep.